Temperatures have dropped below 70, but still a beautiful night in Seaside, California, as a new era begins for Monterey Bay FC. They'll take on Birmingham Legion. Tonight's match brought to you by Monterey Touring Vehicles, and here is the news of the week. Jordan Stewart takes over as the new head coach of Monterey Bay FC. Justin Galante, former USL Championship player. Chris Nurse, glad to be with you. And Chris, a lot of excitement around the organization with Jordan Stewart taking over.
Yeah, without any disrespect to Frank Gallup, I feel like if I was a Monterey Bay player right now, I'd be inspired by the appointment of Jordan Stewart as head coach. A player who played for San Jose, played in the Premier League, still very young, can connect with them, and he seems very much like a player's manager. He wants to build a relationship, build a rapport with the players in order to get the best performance out. So I think we see a rejuvenated Monterey Bay.
Well, what kind of team is he taking over? We look at the Western Conference standings, brought to you by Possibilities, where everything is possible, and it's more than possible that Monterey Bay finds itself in the playoffs this year. Just 1 point above the line at the moment, but also only 5 points at a third.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the two teams below, they have a couple of games in hand, but Jordan Stewart was very clear that his goal is to make the playoffs, and sometimes coaches can come in and be a little cautious. They don't want to give themselves high goals like that, but he's been very clear. His goal is to make the playoffs, and if they win their remaining 12 games, 36 points on the line, there's no reason why they can't accomplish that.
Well, a big reason they would accomplish that, if they do, would be Tristan Traeger.
Yeah, he's shown he has the ability to stretch defenses. He has the composure to finish chances. He has the eye to see passes. He's been very important for his attack. He's going to need to be on his best tonight.
The opponent tonight is Birmingham Legion, which is sitting on 32 points in that 6th spot in the Eastern Conference at the moment. Again, these brought to you by Possibilities. And just like Monterey Bay, Chris, Birmingham is coming off a tie in its last match, but it was one that probably felt more like a loss against Hartford.
Yeah, it has to be a loss, especially the delicate situation that it's in. If you look at the teams below them, the game in hand, North Carolina could jump above them with a win. Teams like Hartford, they really should be beaten.
And their leader is no doubt Enzo Martinez.
Yeah, I know Enzo pretty well. When he was just a 16-year-old, I think he was still at NC State or one of the local colleges in North Carolina at the time. He came in, he was running rings around people. It's great to see the career he's had, and obviously he's one of the best attacking players that the USL Championship has ever had.
Well, the fans can't wait to see it, and neither can we. Jordan Stewart's debut for Monterey Bay as they take on Birmingham Legion, coming up next.
As Montage Health celebrates its 90th anniversary, we're taking a look at the past, recognizing how we started and where we are heading. Over the decades, we have grown from a hospital to an entire healthcare system. Today, Montage Health remains an independent, locally owned, nonprofit organization. We are proud to offer healthcare services for every chapter of life. At Montage Health, our history of excellence is rooted in a commitment to our community. That commitment lives on today and for the next 90 years and beyond.
Run it, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year.
A look at the new head man here in Monterey Bay. Jordan Stewart about to get his debut underway. This is his initial starting 11. You see the formation, Chris. and maybe most notably is that Jerry Ione starts for just the 3rd time all season. He comes from the San Jose Earthquakes organization, where Jordan Stewart was second team assistant the last 2 years. We'll get more into that as the night goes along. On the Birmingham side of things, Tom Soon is in his 6th season as the head coach, and he feels like he has a playoff team again this year.
Yeah, and obviously we spoke about Martinez and how important he is, but you also have Pino, who's a very, very good left foot, capable of scoring goals, knows how to find himself in the right place at the right time. Birmingham are currently sitting in a playoff position, but they need to keep picking up points because there's a number of teams just below them who could potentially jump them.
Just the 2nd meeting all time between Monterey Bay and Birmingham. Our head referee tonight is Mohammed Hassan. It's just about 65 degrees as we get set to get underway on a bit of a chilly night here in Seaside, California. Glad you're along for the ride, and away we go. 2 teams sitting in playoff position at the moment, as we said, both coming off of ties, but they were very different, right? Birmingham was ahead 2-0 against Hartford, let that lead get away, ended up with only 1 point that night. And Monterey Bay at home under interim head coach at the time, Simon Dawkins, who 2 weeks ago was a player, last week was the interim head coach, this week is an assistant coach and will be going forward. They were down 2-1 late. Tristan Traeger scored 2 minutes into stoppage time, and they kind of got out with a point against Tampa.
Yeah, as we spoke about, for Birmingham, the tie probably felt more like a loss against Hartford, who have not been great so far this season whatsoever, and be very surprised to see them in the postseason. However, for Monterey Bay, the tie, you know, your head coach is on the way out the door. You're playing against Tampa Bay Rowdies, who are one of the top sides, who are consistently in the playoffs and competing for the championship on a consistent basis, and you pull off a tie. That feels a little bit more like a win or a step forward in comparison to where they've been previously. So 2 different feelings for each of these teams coming into tonight's game based upon previous results.
It'll be interesting to see if Monterey Bay gets sort of that bump you get when you have a new coach, right? And a lot of our conversation this week with Jordan Stewart centered around the reaction of the players to, you know, what happens when a coach gets fired and somebody new comes in. And he was very encouraged by the response of the group, not only last week before he was officially announced as the new head man, but in training these last couple weeks.
Yeah, and when a coach leaves, it's part of the game. I think the longevity of a coach, the average coach lasts 14 months right now, is the duration of being a head coach. So playing under different head coaches is something that players need to be prepared for, and you just kind of get on with it as part of the job. Of course, nobody likes anybody to lose their job, and there's always that transition period that can be a little bit rough, but it's something the players have to get used to, or they probably become used to over time. Of course, this is only the 2nd head coach in Monterey Bay's history, but the experienced players who have played for a little bit longer will be accustomed to playing for different head coaches. So naturally, there's a little bit of a lull. The players go down a little bit when there's a transition, but they have to pick themselves up very quickly. Number 1, because they have aspirations of making the playoffs, and number 2, because we're reaching the business end of the season where these guys are playing for their contracts and their futures for next year. So they cannot get caught up playing in emotions or feeling sorry for somebody else's fate. They have to take matters into their own hands, and right now they have a job to do in the remaining 12 games to make the playoffs.
This played back to Matt Van Oekel, the starting goalkeeper for Birmingham, 37 years old now. 6th season with Birmingham, 8th in the USL Championship. 4 shutouts for him and 13 starts this year. How about 45 career shutouts with Birmingham for Matt Van Oekel? And again, it's Anthony Siaha, of course, on the Monterey Bay side of things, who by far and away is the USL Championship's leader in saves, which is kind of a nice thing to say for him. But overall, for Monterey Bay, you really don't want your goalkeeper having to make that many saves.
Yeah, and I think that will be one of the areas that they try to address fairly quickly, is to make the defensive line, well, the defensive unit of the team a little bit more compact, a little bit more solid, so that Siaha can face a few less shots each game. Because if you're the leading saves in the league, probably because defensively you're not having that much protection and you're facing a lot of shots throughout the course of the game. So definitely an area that Monterey Bay are going to want to tighten up on fairly quickly.
Birmingham is without a couple of usual starters tonight. Fanuel Kavita, Tyler Pasher not available. Only 3 field players available off the bench for Birmingham in this match. So a little bit of a thinner unit than you would be used to, as Enzo Martinez plays this out wide and Birmingham look to move forward. This is Derek Dodson. Sent into the area now by Prosper Kasim and put wide. A goal kick coming from Anthony Siaha. Tonight's injury report is brought to you by Montage Health. You see Birmingham without a good number of players. Monterey Bay, of course, still without Luther Ashamed and Chase Boone, who are out for the season, but nobody new on the injury report for MB this week.
That chance that just went wide coming from Pino. The Brazilian with an instinctive header towards goal. Actually thought he should have done better. You could see his frustrations. He thought he should have at least tested the goalkeeper with that opportunity.
Pino leading Birmingham with 5 goals this season. 4th year in the USL Championship, but first season with Birmingham. Obviously a quality piece for Indy 11 the last 2 seasons, and a real big addition to this Birmingham team that finished 7th in the East last year, did upset Tampa in the Eastern Conference quarterfinal before succumbing to Charleston in the conference semis, but looking for better seeding going into the postseason this year. Meanwhile, of course, Monterey Bay hoping to make the postseason for the first time. Saw 2 days ago was actually they called it their birthday, the 7-year anniversary of the announcement of the founding of Birmingham Legion.
Yeah, Pino is a top-class striker. When he's provided with the right service, he has the capability of scoring goals.
Curious from your perspective, if you ever had something like this in your career where there was a coaching change mid-season, and how do you make sure the players on a given night, specifically this night, are not playing let me show how good I am to the new coach as opposed to playing in the system the way you'd like them to?
I think it's making them feel comfortable and having that level of trust. Of course, they're not going to tweak too much. Simon Dawkins has already been in this position prior. I think Jordan Stewart's had the opportunity to observe a little bit prior to taking the role. So he would have seen how things are being done, and rather than coming and trying and reinventing everything in 3 days or 4 days, however long he's taken charge, I think that he would have kind of continued things with just making a couple of tweaks.
Here's a Bago corner kick coming for Monterey Bay. Alex Dixon, who had the first goal last Saturday against Tampa Bay, plays this short. Not quite on the same page with Jerry Ione there. Comes all the way back to Maury Donor.
When we spoke to Jordan Stewart, we asked him specifically what can we expect to see different. He said that they're not going to change everything. It wouldn't make sense to try and teach a whole new system in just a couple of days, or even maybe from now to the end of the season. But they did work a little bit on specifically how they build out from the back and how they defend in preparation for today's game against Birmingham Legion.
Alex Lara on the ball here. Nearly a mishandle there by Derek Dotson. Plays it at least away from dangerous area. Dixon trying to send it back in. They were asking for a hand, but it's a play on in the eyes of Mohamed Hassan. A lot of energy to start. This is Adrian Rebelar. And Rebelar has won. No, he has not. It will be just a goal kick. Let's take another look at that last contest from Monterey Bay.
Yeah, I think while it did hit the hands, I think he couldn't have done anything else apart chop his arms off to stop it from being. He had his hands behind his back trying to keep them out of the way. He wasn't in an unnatural position trying to make himself bigger. So I think the referee was right allowing that to play on.
We'll learn more about Jordan Stewart at halftime here tonight, but he spent the last 2 seasons as an assistant for the Town FC, which is the reserve side for San Jose Earthquakes in MLS Next Pro. Certainly kind of a different thing, moving from Next Pro to the USL Championship. Next Pro more of a developmental league than anything else, but he felt like it was the natural progression for him, ready to become a head coach, and was also really attracted to this opportunity because he didn't have to uproot his family or even move to take over as the head man for Monterey Bay.
Yeah, and I think he'd immediately have the respect of the players. Number one, most of these players, they want to compete in the MLS or they want to get into the big leagues in Europe, and they're learning from somebody who's done that not too long ago. They don't have to look very far to see him playing or to see games that he played in the Premier League.
Carlos Guzman sends one across, no one there for it. Well handled by Birmingham. Jerry Ione.
Or games that he played in the MLS with San Jose. So I think inspiring, as long as the players are receptive to learning, they're going to learn tons of information and be inspired by the person that's coaching them. On top of that, he's done his coaching badges. He spent a couple of years as an assistant, so he's learned not just to manage himself, which is what you do when you're a player. He's gone on to learn how to manage other people, to manage the staff, and he's been able to observe it from the touchlines, and now he's had his opportunity to take the head role from the touchline himself. So I think the whole trajectory of him now becoming head coach, I think has happened organically, and we're going to see the fruits of his labor shortly. So I think it's a good move that the players are going to be very enthused by, and as I mentioned, I think we're going to see a burst from Monterey Bay from now to the end of the season. I think we're going to see a few upsets.
We've seen some teams get a real boost from coaching changes already this year, maybe most notably Oakland Roots. Here come Birmingham on the attack once again. First shot of the match is handled easily by Anthony Siaha. That was Pino once again.
Yeah, the first chance from Pino went wide of the target. This time does well, organizes his feet and just tries to get a shot off. It's with his weaker right foot. You can see he doesn't quite get the best connection. He tries to place it, but straight down the middle into Siaha's hands.
Pino was the USL Championship Player of the Week 2 weeks ago after his brace against Orange County. Birmingham unbeaten in its last 3 coming in. Ties against Hartford and New Mexico and a 3-0 dismantling at home of Orange County.
We spoke briefly about Enzo Martinez, and when I was in Carolina, he was still, I think he was 16 years old at UNC, and he came into training one day, and I don't think I was there that day, and everybody was talking about this 16-year-old kid who came in and was dribbling everybody, and he was playing as a number 10, and my position was naturally as a number 6. So the next day, I ended up kicking lumps out of him, but you could see that he had something special about him. He was very, very agile on the ball, was strong in possession, smart, and obviously you can see the career that he's gone on to have from having that kickstart at North Carolina to begin with. So great to see how Enzo's done through his career, and one of the most dangerous attackers that the USL Championship has had.
Second most goal contributions in league history tonight is his 241st appearance of his career in USL Championship. 1 goal away from 75.
And of course, he's had the pleasure that not many players have of playing alongside his brother Alex at some point in his career. I'm sure that's a moment that his family is very proud of.
Just about 11.5 minutes gone by here in Seaside.
I think if I was marking him now, I'd probably pull his beard.
Nearly an underhit pass that would have created an issue, but yeah, I'm with you on that. It was great hearing Jordan Stewart talk about the relationship he wants to develop with his players, and it's what you touched on, right? He said, I want my guys to develop, but the first thing I need is to have trust with them as a two-way street and develop relationships so they're comfortable learning, asking questions, and developing in the way that we want them to. But if I just come in and start telling them what to do, no one's going to listen.
Yeah, and I think part of building that trust is that you understand that this may not be the...
Well-handled ball here by Guzman, but it will be a corner coming for Birmingham.
This may not be the end of the road for many of these players. While it will be, you still have players that want to bounce onto Europe, and you're starting to see that consistently in the USL Championship now, players who are developing, playing, and being sold for large sums to Europe.
First corner of the night here for Birmingham Legion. Enzo Martinez stands over it. Quite a windy night. You see the flag nearly blowing over. It's an in-swinging ball toward the back post, and the last touch is, I believe, off of Monterey Bay, so another corner for Birmingham upcoming.
Pino's been very active in this opening 15 minutes. Everything in the attacking third for Birmingham so far seems to land at Pino.
Birmingham, a very successful group on the road this season. 5 wins, 3 losses, 3 ties. 18 points away from home in 11 matches. You'll take that pretty much every season.
And I think it's important to note the temperature being in the 60s tonight is perfect for the players on the field. Whilst we see the speed of play and the tempo of the game drop a little bit during the summer due to the heat, tonight's conditions are perfect for a fast-flowing, intense matchup.
This is Kobe Hernandez Foster for Birmingham. Punched away by Siaha, sent back in by Pino. Obi Fair got ahead to it, as did Maury Donor, but it'll be a third consecutive corner for Birmingham, upping the pressure.
And it's definitely Birmingham who have been applying the most pressure in this opening 15 minutes. As we mentioned, Pino's had 2 or 3 looks on goal. They've managed to sustain pressure in the attacking third.
Martinez from this side once again. Needs to get that flag out of his way. Martinez, this one all the way in, and it'll be another corner as Donor got up and had the touch on it, and he's a bit shaken up.
You can see how might have clattered his own teammate there.
Corner kick.
Dangerous delivery in here.
Yeah, exactly what you said there, Chris. And this time Siaha makes it happen himself and tries to start the transition back the other way. That was an area that Jordan Stewart felt like maybe they could attack in tonight. Good challenge there from Rebelar to win the ball. He ends up down on the pitch, but we play on. Jerry Ione trying to win it. Ione, and a foul against Monterey Bay. And it's going to be a yellow shown as Martinez is down.
Rebelar, a strong tackle there against Martinez. I think there is justification to say that his studs were showing. He did get a lot of the ball, but unfortunately, if the studs of your cleats are showing, you're likely to get into the referee's book.
Well, look at this entire sequence. And Rebelar right there is what he was booked for.
And he immediately acknowledged it, held his hand up.
Rebelar in his 3rd season with Monterey Bay. 19 starts, 22 games this year. A goal and 2 assists for the local product who played at Cal State Monterey Bay.
It was interesting to hear Jordan Stewart talk about some of the words to describe how he wants his team to be. Some of the words he describes as energy, commitment, effort, desire, mentality, creativity, and he also elaborated on a point that I really liked. He said that sometimes coaches can become too structured and it takes away the creativity away from the players in the field. He said he wants to have a structure, but he needs to have enough balance where the players on the field still have the autonomy to be creative and make things happen.
He said that in regards specifically to tonight, right? You were talking earlier about what was important to them in training this week, working on how they press, maybe a little bit on how they build, but he said if we can defend, I trust that our guys are creative and talented enough to make things happen on the other end of the pitch.
Yeah, and I think it's also in tandem with kind of the trend that the game has been going in where maybe there's becoming less creative players. Everybody's playing in 1 and 2 touches, and you have less players in the wings taking on players. You have less out-and-out number 10s who are just maybe not as physical and don't cover as much ground, but absolute ballers who are able to play passes and do things that the average player can't do. And I think it's just creating platforms and environments where players feel comfortable to do that kind of stuff.
Prosper Kasim tried to lay that back to the middle, but it was broken up there by Alex Dixon. So after kind of a highly energetic start to the night for Monterey Bay, it's been Birmingham on the front foot the last several minutes.
Yeah, Monterey Bay just haven't been able to sustain any sort of meaningful possession to build any attacks. We saw when Siaha got the ball from one of the corners, he was very aggressive and quick to try and kickstart the counter-attack, launching a long throw. But Birmingham were able to recover, get their shape and win back possession of the ball.
Moby Fair in a collision there with Alex Croniale. It comes all the way down for Siaha.
And that's where Monterey Bay may need to adapt their approach. When they're winning the ball, they're trying to be very forward-thinking, very, very direct in their approach. And maybe they just need to settle down, put their foot on the ball and sustain possession for a little bit, rather than winning it, trying to attack immediately, which isn't a bad idea, but they're turning over possession back to Birmingham Legion, sir. They need a little bit more of this where they can build their way into the game, feel a little bit of confidence, and then as the game goes on, create their goal-scoring opportunities.
You know, we talked about this with Jordan Stewart, where most times in sports, when there's a coaching change in the middle of the season, it's because the year's a disaster, basically, right? It's usually more or less over. You don't have a shot at the playoffs. That is far from the case here. So it's a different kind of situation with him coming in and taking over a team that would be the 8th seed in the West if the year ended today.
Yeah, and sometimes you never know what happens in the boardroom in conversations between ownership and between coaches. Sometimes the change is just purely we're on the cusp of the playoffs, and the board maybe have a feel that it's going one direction. They want to try and give it one more push to try and make it this season, and they make the change. Sometimes they just have a disagreement. We're never privy to some of those conversations to really know. But as I said, I think this is will be a reinvigorated Monterey Bay for the remaining games of the season.
Maury Donor on the ball for Monterey Bay. Trying to build something here, sent into the area. Croniale clears it over the side. It will be a throw for MB just past the 20-minute mark here tonight.
And I think it was also important to allude that Jordan Stewart did mention that as much as he wants to make the playoffs with this group of players, he'll be evaluating this group of players going forward because, yes, he's coaching them, but he didn't select this group. This is essentially a group he's inheriting from now to the end of the season on the cusp of the playoffs. I envision he's going to be given enough time for next season to really build the roster that he wants, to retain the players he wants, but to also add some quality and depth to that roster to really go on and push and compete. And I think that's when ownership may start to hold him accountable. So I think these players will also understand every head coach has their style of player.
Donor's tripped up here. This is a foul just outside the box. So a free kick upcoming for Monterey Bay from a very dangerous area. It was A.J. Patterson who committed the foul.
Just driving forward here. Patterson just a little bit late. Uses his body on Donor. I think it was bombing past him. Dangerous area here for Monterey Bay. But we were touching on Jordan Stewart will have his own characteristics that he likes in players and his own style of play. And obviously next season he's going to recruit based upon how he wants the team to play. So I'm sure the Monterey Bay players are also aware of that. So they have to be performing to their maximum.
Alex Dixon, the right-footed option for Monterey Bay here. Instead, it's the left-footed strike, and it's stopped by Van Oekel. Got a hand to it. That was incredibly well done to put it on frame, and Van Oekel had to make a great save.
Yeah, I think he keeps this out the back of the net with his fingertips, using every inch of his height, parrying away from goal. If he didn't get his fingernails on that, I think that's in the back of the net.
So here is another bagel corner kick. Second of the night for Monterey Bay. This one to the back post, headed on, but a foul against Kai Green as he tried to go over the top of a defender.
I think Green just climbed up there, was all over the defender's shoulders.
Three minutes gone here tonight. Justin Galanti, Chris Nurse, our entire outstanding crew. Glad you're with us for the debut match for Jordan Stewart as the head coach. And obviously so important for him that Simon Dawkins is staying on as an assistant. He just retired from a 20-year playing career a couple weeks ago, was the interim head coach last week against Tampa Bay, and he'll stay on the staff as an assistant.
Yeah, I think that continuity is important, but Jordan Stewart already has a relationship with Dawkins because they played together. So I think that natural transition just helps when you're going into a new role. You already have an assistant who knows the team. You already have a rapport. You already have a relationship with them. I think that already builds a natural dynamic for success rather than going in there and you're having to get to know somebody from scratch. Maybe you have completely different ideas or the way that you see the game and you don't have any understanding of each other. I think that's going to obviously allow them to have a good platform to build off.
And for at least the time being, Simon Dawkins can tell everyone he was unbeaten as a head coach.
He can thank Traeger for that 92nd minute equalizer last week.
What a moment that was on a rainy night where Tristan Traeger kind of pulled a rabbit out of the hat to save a point that night for Monterey Bay. And Jordan Stewart said he went in the locker room after the match, told the guys how impressed he was with their resolve that night, and also said you never know what 1 point can do at the end of the season. So certainly a valuable finish that night. Martinez trying to find Pino, gets it back, but it was knocked away from him by Moby Fair.
Yeah, I think Traeger has a lot of good attributes. He has the speed to be able to stretch defenses. He got a goal and assist in the last game. He can create opportunities for his teammates. He can create opportunities for himself. A well-rounded attacker.
Yeah, maybe the best attribute for him this season, 7 goals. That's 4 more than anybody else on the team. Enzo Martinez once again. Never hard to pick him out on the pitch, as you were mentioning. Now Prosper Kasim. Another veteran of 178 now USL Championship matches. In the area, this is just wide from Dawson McCartney.
It's not a bad effort there whatsoever. Just tries to bend it into the far corner. Martinez here threading the ball through the legs. Strength, vision, composure. Just creates space inside the box, and Monterey Bay shouldn't really allow him that much time and space to receive the ball, turn, and then to get his shot off. They need to get tight to him when he's facing away from the goal and not allow him to turn and face forward.
McCartney's been hot lately. He's contributed to a goal in 4 consecutive matches, 3 goals and 3 assists in total on the season. His first with Birmingham. Spent the last 2 years with Portland Timbers 2 after being drafted in the 2nd round back in 2021 in the MLS Super Draft by Portland after a career that started at Dartmouth and then ended at Notre Dame. This will go off for a goal kick for Van Oekel. You'll hear more about this at halftime, but Jordan Stewart was laughing about the fact that he is, of course, from Birmingham, England. And the first opponent he sees as a head coach is Birmingham, not the same one, but he wasn't quite sure if that was a good omen or a bad one.
Well, this is like, these temperatures are like a summer in Birmingham. In the West Midlands, it's very cold and rainy, so whilst we said that it may be a little chilly for the fans, I'm sure he feels like it's a summer.
This will be a throw for Birmingham. It deflected off that back heel of Jerry Ione. That's kind of the one change, I guess, in the starting 11 that Jordan Stewart made. And we mentioned this at the top of the show, but Ione prior to this year was playing in the Quakes organization, played quite a bit for last year known as Earthquakes 2, this year known as the Town. But either way, the reserve side for San Jose, which Jordan Stewart was, of course, an assistant for. So he was somebody that he pointed out in our call this week, as this will be a corner coming for Birmingham, as a player that kind of knew the ideas already that he wanted to implement with this group.
Yeah, and it would be like we don't know whether that was a tactical change, whether something was injured, or if it was just a change for preference. But as you alluded to, they have an understanding from working together prior, and every manager needs players in there who they can trust and essentially be their on-field coach. So it's good if you have somebody who already understands your way of working and how you want to play and how you want to organize the team.
5th corner of the first half for Birmingham Legion. Remember, the first 4 came consecutively. Kobe Hernandez Foster, the 22-year-old, will take this. Hernandez Foster, dangerous ball, but a little too close to the keeper, and Siaha has it.
That quick distribution there from Siaha once again. Dixon making the run straight through the middle, but I think he might have been offside had that ball gone through. Needed to be delivered a little bit earlier into space, and not many people are going to catch Alex Dixon when he's at full speed.
Moses Mensah was the one who got ahead to it for Birmingham.
I think one thing to note is Monterey Bay being the the home side. You'd expect them to dictate the possession a little bit more than they have so far in this game. Things a little bit level. Birmingham Legion, slightly more possession, just above 50%.
It's kind of an interesting stretch in the schedule for Monterey Bay in that this is a third consecutive Eastern Conference opponent. It was Lou City, then Tampa Bay, and now Birmingham Legion. Only the second meeting ever between these two, as we mentioned earlier, last October, 2-0 win at home for Birmingham Legion over Monterey Bay.
Both teams find themselves in a similar predicament in their respective conferences, with teams below them with games in hand who could potentially jump them if they do win those games. So they really have to take control of their own destiny and what they can control. And both teams tonight could definitely do with the 3 points to get them a little bit of breathing space from the teams below them.
Well, Martinez for Ione. And now it's Rebelar. It'll be a throw now for Birmingham Legion. I guess the difference this year, if you evaluate the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference here in USL Championship, is that there are a lot of teams that are really similar in terms of results in the Western Conference, whereas in the East, a couple teams have kind of proven themselves to clearly be the best all year. Charleston, Lou City, obviously. But in the West, it's a lot of teams that have very similar numbers of wins and losses, and the separation between even first and eighth is really not that large at this stage of the year.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that stands out between the two conferences is that Charleston, Louisville, Tampa Bay Rowdies, goal differential +29, +29, +17 on the East. Then you jump across to the West, and the goal differential is 2, 11, and -8 in the top three. So the ability to keep clean sheets and score multiple goals has been far more prevalent in the Eastern Conference this year than it has been in the Western Conference. We've asked numerous head coaches why do they think that is. Nobody's been able to give us clear reasoning. But I remember a couple of seasons ago when San Diego Loyal were one of the top teams, and they said the best goal scorers were on the West Coast, but that's definitely not been the scenario this year. It's definitely an East Coast affair when it comes to goals being scored.
There's Jerry Ione, plenty of space, plays it out wide. Maury Donor once again. And that's taken away, so that kind of killer instinct in the final third has not quite been there for Monterey Bay yet tonight.
I know Dixon will be a little bit upset if we don't mention that little bit of skill that he did on the right-hand side just then. Dragged back and put it through his opponent's legs.
Dixon, like Enzo Martinez, played his college soccer at the University of North Carolina. 10th season in the USL Championship for Alex Dixon, 269 career appearances. Let's take another look at that play that Dixon made a moment ago.
We were talking about something else, but he deserves his. Of course, they're always better than those moments when they end in a goal-scoring opportunity. It's kind of an anti-climax when...
This is in for Birmingham. Off the post and in the back of the net for Kobe Hernandez-Foster. His first goal of the year, and it's a breakthrough for Birmingham.
And we were talking about goal-scoring maturity. We were actually talking about Monterey Bay when they have possession. Out of nowhere, this ball's picked up on the edge of the box, and it's an absolute rocket along the ground into the back of the net. Gives Siaha no chance. Out of nothing, he creates this.
Kobe Hernandez-Foster, first goal of the season.
Just the accuracy of it. Posting in. Siaha, the big frame that he is, was not even able to get close to it whatsoever, and it was very little backlift. Great strike to give his team the lead.
Hernandez-Foster, his first goal in a Birmingham uniform. Was playing in Norway the last 2 seasons. Did play in USL Championship from 2018 to 20 with LA Galaxy 2. And he's gotten hot lately. At the start of July, all he had was 1 assist this year. An assist on the 20th against New Mexico, an assist last match against Hartford, and now he has a goal.
Yeah, and Birmingham Legion have been banging on the door with set pieces. They corner after corner after corner. That was actually just their second shot on target. They've had 4 shots in these opening 35 minutes. And their second shot on target ended up being a go-ahead goal. But they have been in the attacking third a little bit more frequently, winning set pieces. Just took a moment of brilliance there from Hernandez to give them the go-ahead goal.
Well, if you want symmetry in Birmingham's last match against Hartford, they found a breakthrough goal to go ahead 1-0 in the 32nd minute. So almost the exact same point in the match. Carlos Guzman sends it into the area. Flicked on, but wide.
Dixon just unable to get any power on that header to really threaten Van Oekel in goal there. The floated cross.
Instant replay brought to you by @Media. Goal Jim, goal kick.
Van Oekel had it covered.
So Monterey Bay playing from behind here. A 1-0 deficit on the goal in the 33rd minute from Hernandez Foster. Foul here going against Monterey, or I should say against Birmingham. Always interesting to see the response after conceding a goal. First one of the night, even more interesting when you have a new coach on the sideline.
I think Monterey Bay just have to keep trying to find Traeger and Dixon in areas where they can receive the ball and face forward. Right now in this first half, they've only had 1 shot in 35 minutes and 1 shot on target. We've not really mentioned Traeger's name in any dangerous situations.
Here he is, taking that ball away. Tristan Traeger goes out wide for Alex Dixon. Dixon back to the middle for Traeger. Tristan Traeger's shot was blocked. Comes back to Dixon. Plays it in the middle. Ion got a strike away, but it was deflected and taken by Van Oekel. So that's exactly what you just asked for.
Yeah, and you can see the danger that Traeger has. When he gets inside the box, he's dangerous. Look how quick he sorts his feet out. Some good defending here to block the shot. Ion was just unable to organize his feet the same way. Great opportunity. If he could have get that first touch down and adjusted his feet quickly to get the shot off. Great opportunity for Monterey Bay to equalize. But that's what they need a little bit more of. Find Dixon, find the feet of Traeger higher up the field where they can make things happen and hurt the opponents.
And in that situation, it was really Traeger who just went and won the ball himself.
Yeah, he has that ability. We spoke about his pace, his ability to stretch defenses, his creativity, the way he can score goals himself, but he can also create for others.
37 minutes gone. A chilly night in Seaside, California. Carlos Guzman. 3 times this year, Guzman has been named to the USL Championship Team of the Week. That's the most of anyone for Monterey Bay.
When Guzman has the ball on this left-hand side, I feel like in the middle of the park, Fair needs to make himself available to switch the point of attack. Right now, they're having to use the centre-backs and go very deep to switch the point of attack instead of using the midfield.
It's like Walmer Martinez sort of lost his balance there, trying to get under that service from Alex Dixon. Fair took the ball back.
Of course, Jordan Stewart would want nothing more than to get off to a winning start tonight. Get the players, the fans, the organization bought into your way of doing things.
Here's a chance, perhaps. It's a play on for the moment. Set in front and taken by Birmingham.
Definitely questions there. Definitely questions there for a penalty kick. But even with the referee not blowing, there was a still great opportunity there to get the go-ahead goal. I think everybody just stopped playing so quickly that when the ball ended up being delivered right across the face of goal, I believe it was Guzman who delivered the ball across the face of goal. There's just nobody there to tap it in.
Rebelar gets it ahead. Here's another chance, but the shot well wide from Martinez. Let's go back to this last sequence and tell us what you think. Foul or no foul in the area?
Starts here with Guzman. And I think there's definitely a question. I think that's a clumsy tackle, but Guzman gets it back. Look, this is delivered straight across the face of goal. And Monterey Bay had just stopped playing at that moment.
Goal kick.
Whether the decision is right or wrong, they still had the opportunity here to score.
You know, for a moment, I thought in that sequence, Mohamed Hassan might have just been allowing them to play the advantage for a moment to see if they scored anyway.
I think the first tackle is clumsy. I think he completely bodies Dixon. He doesn't get any of the ball. Referee's reluctant to allow it to go on. And it does go on, and Guzman delivers a great ball into the box, but I think everybody was so busy protesting the penalty kick that they lost focus and concentration. The opportunity was still there to get the go-ahead goal. But not the go-ahead, the equalizing goal, should I say.
Well, either way, it seems like Monterey Bay have upped the energy level since conceding the goal just about 7 minutes ago.
Yeah, since they've gone down, they've actually reacted well, and they've started to create. They've started to put the ball down and play, move it a little bit quicker, and they've created a couple of good opportunities since going down.
Again, an appeal for a whistle that is not blown. So it looks like A.J. Patterson might have been a little too physical there. Siaha. Look at the pressure from Enzo Martinez.
Good composure there from Green. Birmingham Legion pressing very aggressively.
Oh, and they get the takeaway. Pino, it'll be a corner coming. What a mistake that was, though.
Yeah, Fair just taking a little too long in possession of the ball there. Even the pass he was looking to make was becoming very predictable.
So this will be the 6th corner of the first half, and you see the goal scorer. Kobe Hernandez, Foster. It's a decent service, but Siaha has it.
Great goalkeeping there from Siaha. And you see every time he receives the balls from those corner kicks, he's looking to kickstart the counter-attack very quickly.
746 save percentage, 5 shutouts this season for Anthony Siaha.
This is great goalkeeping. Watches the flight of the ball, grabs it with both hands, and then he's immediately looking forward to where he can exploit Birmingham Legion's defense.
That was a note that Jordan Stewart made this week. Felt like since Birmingham is so spread out in their attack, there could be opportunities for Monterey Bay to counter them in transition. Ball falls onto the foot there of Revelar, but he sent it well high.
Yeah, good opportunity to test the goalkeeper from just outside the box, but you could see it. His body positioning wasn't right as he struck the ball, and it's just high and wide.
Goal kick.
It's one of those ones that just fall to you on the edge of the box when you least expect it. You just smash it as hard as you can. Tries to bend it into the far corner, but unfortunately got it all wrong.
So 5 shots now, but only 1 on target for Monterey Bay in this first half. Birmingham 4 shots, 2 on goal. And of course the goal in the 33rd minute.
Good defending there for the skipper Green.
Kai Green has started all 22 matches he's appeared in this year. 9-year veteran of the USL Championship. Former Seton Hall Pirate. Good play there by Ayon, got away from Martinez. Tristan Traeger. Now Donor. Donor sends it in. Settled there. Martinez drops it off. Chip to the back post. Comes all the way out. Dixon over for Guzman. Sends it back in. Well handled by Monterey Bay. Stepping onto it for a moment there was Green, and now a foul against Revelar.
Monterey Bay having some good spells of possession, but just unable to test Van Oekel in goal. For the possession they're having, the ball movement, the energy that they're putting into the attack, they're not forcing Van Oekel into any saves.
Yeah, it's been a good spell of play, but unfortunately, if you're Monterey Bay, not a ton to show for it yet.
Still just one shot on target as we approach half-time. Not much better from Birmingham Legion, but they do find themselves in the lead with just 2 shots on target.
This is Roof. Now Kasim. Dotson ahead for Roof once again. Couple funky bounces there, comes out, and Traeger lost his balance, but did extremely well to keep the ball. And now Rebelar is fouled, and quickly a yellow comes out of the pocket of Mohamed Hassan.
Yeah, smart, clever foul there from Hernandez. You could see Monterey Bay were about to go on the counter-attack in order to give his team an opportunity to get everybody back behind the ball to defend. He just grabs onto Rebelar, swings him down to the ground, knowing it's going to be a free kick, and he knows he's going to get the yellow card for that. There's nothing he can complain about whatsoever.
3 minutes of added time here in the first half.
Indicated a minimum of 3 minutes of stoppage time. Brought to you by Montage Health.
Moby Fair for Alex Lara. Alex Dixon to the middle with it. Patient build here from Monterey Bay. Guzman. Dixon now. Maybe too many players in the same area there for Monterey Bay. Trying to keep the ball here, and they do. Dixon once again was trying to find Traeger. It'll be a throw.
Guzman has been solid in this opening half on this left-hand side. Good in possession, always looking forward with his passes. Good quality on the ball. With both wingers being inverted, the fullbacks have been the ones who have been providing the width.
Moby Fair going over the top with it. Martinez nearly had a chance. And Alex Croniale once again involved in some contact in the box, but clearly not enough for a foul.
This wasn't a bad idea whatsoever. Fair just clips this one over the top. If he looks centrally, Traeger's there all alone. If Martinez is able to nod that down, but he's just unable to avoid the challenge.
I think you have to be encouraged by the last 15 minutes or so, though, for Monterey Bay.
Yeah, and I think they have to keep building on that. I think they have to keep trying to find Traeger high up the field. However they do it, whether it's switching the point of attack quickly, whether it's playing a little bit more direct, whether it's allowing Traeger to attract 2 or 3 defenders so they can open up space for other players on the field. I think that's the player they have to be trying to focus on it and find ways to get him in dangerous positions and higher up the field.
Donor making the run. Sends it across, handled by Van Okel.
It's not a bad idea there from Donor, but there just needs to be somebody central if he's going to deliver crosses of that nature. You saw how easy and straightforward that was for Van Okel to collect and receive to get his team back in possession of the ball.
Not much time left until halftime. Perhaps one more rush up the pitch for Monterey Bay. Moby Fair. Now Guzman. Ione. And there's a halftime whistle. So, Birmingham Legion, a 1-0 advantage on the goal from that man in the 33rd minute, Chris.
Yeah, and even if you saw that last sequence, some good build-up play there from Monterey Bay, but they don't get into the final third to test the goalkeeper. It's maybe 10, 15 passes, but they don't get into the attacking third quick enough to make anything happen against this Birmingham Legion defense. Interesting to see how they come out in the second half. I think now is Jordan Stewart's test to kind of make a couple of tweaks and see if they can get themselves the equalizing goal.
So Jordan Stewart's debut sees his side down 1-0 at the break. We'll be back in just a moment from Seaside.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Montrio, Tarpe's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean fresh sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Are you paying too much for your car insurance? Call Coast Auto Insurance to receive a free quote and see how much you could save. Coast works with over 50 different insurance companies to make sure you get the best rate for your car, motorcycle, home, or business. Coast is a local company with local people. We do vehicle registration, SR22, and insurance for Mexico. Call Coast Auto Insurance today for a free quote and see how much we can save you. Or go to coastautoinsurance.com, where your peace of mind is guaranteed.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the high five strangers got, game-winning interception, first down, just a nice solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Halftime is brought to you by Integris Wealth Management. Birmingham Legion 1-0 ahead of Monterey Bay FC at the break. And let's look at the excitement this week as Jordan Stewart was announced as head coach. This was the post on X from Monterey Bay FC. A new era as he takes over on a multi-year deal. And Chris, you talked about his experience in the Premier League, in the MLS with San Jose. Certainly exciting for him to get his first opportunity as a head coach.
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting appointment for Monterey Bay. I think it's an exciting appointment that the league is excited about. And obviously that comes with big expectations. The career that he's had as a player, he's had a transition as an assistant coach, and now it's his time as a head coach. And I think everybody's optimistic and excited for what he could bring to Monterey Bay, but also what he adds to the USL Championship.
Earlier this week, Jordan Stewart caught up with CBS Sports' Golazo Network to talk about why Monterey Bay was a good fit for him.
I think obviously last week, coming in to see the boys just to say hello, being able to come to the game on Saturday and speaking to them after. Me obviously knowing Simon Dawkins that I used to play with, San Jose Earthquakes, and kind of speaking to him and his philosophy and obviously mine, how they kind of align. We want to build right from the back and play exciting football within the structure, and then obviously letting the guys have that creativity to express themselves. And then hopefully on Saturday, the funny thing is on Saturday we play against Birmingham, and obviously that's where I'm from in England. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but hopefully it'll be a good thing.
I'm sure I'm curious. What do you think the difference will be between the Birmingham in the UK and the one in Alabama?
Apart from the weather and the food, maybe. Now, obviously, like I love Birmingham. Try and go back every year. But yeah, going into the game Saturday, being normally the assistant opposed to like the head coach is super exciting for me, and the players have took it on board of like what we're trying to create here at the club, not only as what we're trying to implement on the field, but just also as a culture as well across the whole staff, the whole players, and the whole organisation.
Just looking at where Monterey Bay are sitting at the minute in the West, they're in 8th place, which is in playoff contention. There's only 12 games to go, though, isn't there? What's going to be really the focus now in these last few remaining games in this home stretch to close out the season and make that playoff push?
I think, as I expressed all this week, it's to make the playoffs. The destiny is in our own hands. I think sometimes when you come in as a coach, you don't want to kind of say those things that publicly, but I'm confident in the players. Obviously, we've only trained 3 days, but within those 3 days, you can see that there's a fight, there's a hunger that they want to kind of do better and progress. So hopefully we can make the playoffs this year. Obviously, last couple of years they haven't. So looking to definitely for sure get in the playoffs and hopefully get a home game as well.
This was the post on X from the Town FC, where Jordan Stewart was an assistant the last couple years, thanking him for his contributions. And they're excited to see him take on this new opportunity, his first role as a head coach. And let's see the sideline reactions, Chris. What do you think of the first half?
Yeah, I think he's obviously trying to get his opinion off to how he wants the players to play, the positioning. A little bit upset with what decision that didn't go his way that he believed was a penalty kick. But, you know, he's proclaimed himself to be a player's coach who's going to deal with the individual first and get the best out of them from that aspect first. So, you know how heated the touchlines can be. It's not always a true reflection of the coach away from the field.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes. We want the best. Running every night, won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
New flavors, the same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador, spiked bebidas.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
As Montage Health celebrates its 90th anniversary, we're taking a look at the past, recognizing how we started and where we are heading. Over the decades, we have grown from a hospital to an entire healthcare system. Today, Montage Health remains an independent, locally owned, nonprofit organization. We are proud to offer healthcare services for every chapter of life. At Montage Health, our history of excellence is rooted in a commitment to our community. That commitment lives on today and for the next 90 years and beyond.
Back at halftime, which is presented to you by Integris Wealth Management. Let's take another look at the Western Conference table, which is brought to you by Possibilities, where anything is possible. Chris, you see Monterey Bay 1 point in, 8th spot, which is the last playoff spot at the moment. You mentioned some teams below them do have games in hand, but they are very close to some teams ahead of them if they can start to put together a run of good form.
Yeah, and that run of good form needs to start last week, but needs to start tonight. You're looking at them being at home, having that home advantage in front of your home fans. Had a big impact for them last week in the comeback tie. They need to bounce on tonight and potentially get that 3 points. It's going to be a very interesting second half.
Very busy night around USL Championship. Some of the scores around the Western Conference. That Lou City Sac Republic match, how about that? Crazy one. 4-3. Lou City continues to play just outstanding. Charleston beats Memphis, so a bunch of interconference matchups that were very compelling over the last couple of days. And Starting up very soon is the USL Women's Super League. The inaugural season begins on August 17th when Carolina Ascent will host DC Power and Spokane will host Fort Lauderdale. Second half coming up next here in California.
At First Capital Bank, we are dedicated, consistent, and committed to your financial journey. Our experienced team builds trusted relationships with each client to understand your financial goals. Roads to success have detours. Let First Capital Bank guide your journey every step of the way. As your local community bank, our priority is to cultivate success through outstanding and uncompromising service. Join us on the journey to greatness with First Capital Bank.
At Integris Wealth Management, we know what it takes to be a good teammate. For 25 years, we've been your trusted ally. We are local and independent. We care for our clients' money as if it were our own. We believe in doing the right thing and work together to find big wins for you. Integris Wealth Management. We turn values into action and champion livelihoods.
1-0 the lead for Birmingham Legion over Monterey Bay at halftime. Let's take a look at how we got here. Chris Nurse, early on, it was Pino, the leading scorer this season for Birmingham Legion, with the first opportunity of the night.
Yeah, Pino had a few good looks in the first half. This one's on his weaker right foot. Tries to place it in the corner, but doesn't get a great connection on it. Straight into Ciara's hands.
23rd minute, this might have been the best chance to score in the first half for Monterey Bay as Maury Donor draws the foul, and then Matt Van Oekel had to make his best save of the night.
Yeah, whipping and dipping free kick here, and Van Oekel uses every inch of his height plus his fingernails to poke this one out of the back of the net.
A couple minutes later, another chance for Birmingham Legion. Another good build up here, and it leads to a shot that was just wide.
Yeah, Martinez finding McCartney, and he does an excellent job of finding space onto his favoured left foot and just tries to curl it into the far corner. Great effort here. Just a few yards wide of the upright.
So we remain scoreless until the 33rd minute when Birmingham finally found the breakthrough.
Yeah, and if McCartney wasn't a one inside, then Hernandez definitely is. Time, space, turns, and gets the opportunity to let this rocket go. His left foot low and hard into the corner. I think it's Aon here should have done a better job of closing him down, allowing him the time and space to get a shot off. But he did get a shot off. Hernandez punishes and gives Birmingham Legion the lead.
Anything stand out to you here in our first half stats?
Monterey Bay actually did a little better as the game went on. As we saw, they got a little bit more into it. They got a little bit better with the possession, but they've not found Traeger enough in dangerous situations where he can hurt them. And as you see, shots on target, just one. As they're coming towards the end of the first half, they were sustaining possession side to side, but it wasn't with any speed or pace to break down Birmingham Legion's defensive block. And I think that's where they've got to get a little bit stronger now, is how do they break down that block? Who's the player who has the capability to thread the passes, and where and how can they find Traeger and Dixon a little bit higher up the field in areas where they can punish?
Well, just a week ago, Monterey Bay found itself behind in the second half, came back, earned a point against Tampa Bay Rowdies. And on that same night, Birmingham Legion were ahead in the second half by 2 goals against Hartford and ended up just tying. So both teams are in a similar spot to where they were a week ago. And Monterey Bay is hoping things go the same way they did last weekend, while Birmingham Legion is hoping to close out 3 points, something they couldn't do last Saturday.
Both of these teams have conceded at the same number of goals this season. Birmingham Legion has scored 28 and conceded 30, -2 goal differential. On the other side, Monterey Bay have scored 21 and conceded 30, -9 goal differential.
You mentioned this, Chris, in the first half, but it's worth mentioning again that this is a very odd year in the fact that we see many, many teams in the playoffs at the moment, or even top of the table, that have either negative, as Traeger tries to run this one down and Van Okel dives on it, either negative goal differentials or ones that are not particularly impressive, specifically in the Western Conference.
Yeah, and that's why I authentically believe that the championship is going to be won by an Eastern Conference team. Just that ability to score goals, but also the ability to keep clean sheets and defend well. If you look at Charleston, for example, Tampa Bay, Charleston have conceded just 21 goals so far this season. Tampa Bay have conceded just 22. Louisville City have conceded a few more at 27, but they're very expansive in the way they build an attack. They send the defenders very high, but they score a lot of goals, so it's working for them. But I think when it comes down to playoff games and championship games, the defense needs to be very tight, and the ability to keep clean sheets and win games 1-0 and not concede goals is going to prove very pivotal in those playoff games.
And remember, Lou City did concede 3 times tonight, so that number looked a little better before this evening.
The only team defensively on the Western Conference this season who can compete with Eastern is Sacramento, who've conceded just 20 goals this season. However, they've scored significantly less than Louisville, Charlotte, or Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Dawson McCartney had a goal in the last match against Hartford. McCartney trying to find some room. Beautifully done, Pino! Oh my goodness! 2-0 for Birmingham.
And we know Pino has that quality. After he takes that first touch, you see the ball's coming down to him and he has time and space and nobody's closing him down or pressuring him. You know if he gets a clean connection on that ball, it's in the back of the net. And that's exactly what happens. Very unorthodox on the fly with the first touch. It's not a brilliant pass to him that gives him a great opportunity, but he erects ever so well here. It's a difficult first touch. And there's just nobody closing him down, and that's such a clean finish with the second strike into the upper 90. Gives Siaha no chance. He can just watch it fly past him. Pino's going to enjoy watching that one time and time and time again.
Well, it's his team leading 6th goal this season. His head coach, Tom Soon, smiles. And in the 48th minute, Birmingham up 2-0 now. I don't know if there's any other way to say it. That was sick.
Yeah, and I think that we spoke about Pino scoring goals when he's provided with great service. That wasn't great service. It was just an opportunity that he creates out of nothing. A touch where the ball is looking like it's getting away from him. He manages to get it under some sort of control, and in the second strike, unbelievable.
I'm going to say that needs to be on some highlight shows tomorrow.
I think you have goal of the week there. I'll be interested to see if anything gets close to that.
Well, now Monterey Bay trailing by 2, and Birmingham find itself ahead 2 goals in the second half for the second consecutive match. Monterey Bay seemed to respond very well after conceding in the first half, but being down 2 goals instead of 1 is obviously a very different story.
Yeah, and it's the worst time for them to concede. Obviously, you come out from the second half and you're rejuvenated, you've had your rest, you probably had a little bit of tactics talking of how you can get yourself back into the game and in the second half, and the first thing you do in the first 2 minutes is concede another goal. Very, very hard task now for Monterey Bay for the remainder of this game. And given the season that they're having, you know, they need that positivity, they need that good start to get the energy of the fan base back behind them.
You know, with what we were talking about a couple minutes ago with goal differential on the season, as you mentioned, let's include the 2 goals tonight. Birmingham is a -1, and Monterey Bay is now a -10. So what they generally say with a stat like that is one of 2 things happens. Either your results become in line with your goal differential, or your goal differential becomes in line with your record. But it's unlikely that it keeps up the whole season, that a team that's -10 in goal differential can make the playoffs.
Yeah, and you only have to look down the table. Hartford, who Birmingham Legion tied with last week, -19 goal differential, way out of the playoffs. You look at Miami FC, -32 goal differential, way out of the playoffs. The one team that you would say you'd never rule out is Bob Lilly's Pittsburgh, who are currently -1, and you know Bob Lilly has a way when it comes to playoff time to make things happen. So I'm not going to rule them out, but that's another team right now in the negative. And normally Bob Lilly's team are very defensively strong, and they do have goal scorers. It's kind of been a weird season with some odd things happening.
Pittsburgh earlier this year had a stretch of more than 10 hours of game time without scoring a goal, and then laid 5 on Oakland.
And even if you look at Indy 11, when they went on their 12-game win streak, they currently sit on -1 for goal differential. How did you go on a 12-game win streak and your goal differential is -1?
Really bad in the other games, I
Yeah.
guess. Whistle for a handball here against Roof. Talked a lot about where Monterey Bay obviously sits in the standings, but Rhode Island won earlier tonight, which put them level with Birmingham on 32 points in the Eastern Conference. But if Birmingham can secure 3 points tonight, it would be in a tie for 4th with Indy 11 at the end of the evening, and they can start thinking about what they can do to host the opening round of the playoffs.
Yeah, Rhode Island is a team that you have to watch out for right now. They're picking up form and getting hot at the right time. They're getting bodies back fit. Earlier in the season, they were picking up a lot of ties, but now in the latter end of the season, they've been able to turn those ties into 3 points and win. So that's a team that everybody needs to watch out for as the season comes to a close.
A 3-0 winner tonight against their rival Hartford. Of course, Rhode Island, its first year in USL Championship.
Yeah, and I think they wanted to manage expectations in their first year and give respect to the rest of the league. I think if you come in your first year claiming that you're going to make the playoffs and win, it may be disrespectful or underestimates the teams that have been in there building their franchises for a longer time. But they've silently gone about their work, and for me, they look like a team that's definitely going to be in the postseason right now.
Offside here against Birmingham.
And if you look at a couple of surprises that right now wouldn't be in the postseason, Phoenix and San Antonio on the West Coast would be absolute devastating if we don't see those teams in the postseason, given the expectations, the size of the franchise, and their previous history when it comes to playoffs and postseason competition.
Both those teams do have games in hand on those ahead of them, but games in hand are only good if you earn points in those games.
And neither of them have been essentially performing very well this season. We keep speaking about the goal differential. Phoenix are currently -4, San Antonio -8.
Looks like Moby Fair was just shown a yellow as you see a little bit of frustration starting to bubble up for Monterey Bay.
Yeah, he's had a tough night. I wouldn't say he's had the better of that midfield battle in the center of the park tonight.
So a free kick here. Walmer Martinez seems set to take it. Here away from the play. Somehow Adrian Rebelar ended up down on the field. Just under 10 minutes since halftime. Birmingham have added 1 to the lead. A looping service, well handled by Birmingham Legion. Cleared away by Prosper Kasim. What's the message when you're down 2 goals to your team at this stage in a match?
Well, for Monterey Bay, they really have nothing to lose. Whether it's 2 or 4, they've got to go after it. They have to go after the game. There's no point trying to lose a game 2-0. they've got to go and try and get equalizing goals. So they're going to have to defend with lower numbers. They're going to have to throw bodies forward. They're going to have to be aggressive in how they attack, which is obviously going to leave holes for Birmingham Legion to exploit. But it's the only way that they're going to be able to get themselves back into this game. So I think they have to be aggressive and very forward-thinking in how they attack right now. And I think that's half of the issue. Look how long they took to make that forward pass, and when it did go forward, it was immediately a turnover. I mentioned that Fairs had a tough night in the middle of the park today. He's not won that battle. Hernandez has been dominant in the center of the park and making things happen, and obviously scoring a goal. Martinez consistently strong in the center of the park. Haven't really mentioned Fair. Ribola has been in and out of the game. He's been industrious, but he's not really had a killer instinct or an impact as much as he would have liked either.
Here comes Dodson. Sends it across, but it's well overhit.
Great opportunity there to get Pino on the score sheet again, but the delivery just wasn't good enough.
Birmingham trying to make this a run of 4 consecutive unbeaten. 1 win, 2 ties in the last 3. Moses Mensah. You know, after tonight, on the Birmingham side, 11 matches left. And if they win this evening, they'll be on 35 points. Last year, 46 points got them the 7 seed. So I think you'd feel pretty good about your placement right now if you're able to finish tonight on 35 points with still 11 more to play.
That's why that.
Be a goal kick coming here for Van Oekel.
Goal kick.
Another thing Birmingham Legion have done is sort of take the energy out of this crowd tonight.
Yeah, as we spoke about, when there's change, there's optimism, but you have to get the performance and the result to get everybody to buy into it, and that's why I think while it's not the be-all or end-all tonight, it would have been great for Monterey Bay to get off to a winning start to rejuvenate everybody, but given the flow of the game so far, a couple of decisions that maybe they feel should have gone their way, it's not quite happened as we would have liked, but as you spoke about just now, there's still 11 games to go, 33 points to play for, and possibly another 10 can get them across that playoff line. So it's not the time to be throwing in the towel yet or throwing in the doomsday.
Jerry Ione, beautiful ball. Martinez is stopped by Van Oekel.
Spoke about there's opportunity still there. I thought Martinez should have maybe gone across the keeper a little bit more to the far corner there. I think it was fairly straight down the middle there for Van Oekel to deal with. But great opportunity, great pass, well-timed run.
Here's Maury Donor. Gets a step of space, sends it into the middle, it's put in! Tristan Traeger, it is 2-1.
Not over yet. Jordan Stewart demanding a reaction from his team, and he's got exactly that. And it's Traeger, the man who they needed to find, who's been starved of good service all night. The one good ball that he's found, he's delivered with in his first touch. He's just able to use the pace of the ball and guide it into the far corner to get his team on the score sheet. Now we'll be able to see if they're able to go on and build from this.
Beautiful service from Donor. Traeger makes no mistake. And there's the first goal in the tenure of Jordan Stewart.
And we spoke about finding Traeger in dangerous areas with good service, and Donor does exactly that. Drives down, delivers a great ball into the box to Traeger in an area where he can score with just one touch.
That's another healthy goal brought to you by Taylor Farms. Tristan Traeger, a team leading 8th of the season, comes in the 60th minute. And now plenty of time, about a half hour plus stoppage time for Monterey Bay to work with.
And you can already feel the rejuvenation of the fans, the energy that's given them. Very important. Monterey Bay having that 12th man on their side.
And if you think about the mentality of the Birmingham Legion players, it was just a week ago that they saw a 2-0 lead get away from them against Hartford. And maybe the thoughts of here we go again creep into your head.
Yeah, it's a test of character. They proved against Hartford that they weren't able to protect that lead. So that should give Monterey Bay confidence to know that there's 30 minutes left in the game. There's still opportunity to go and get another goal against this Birmingham Legion defense. The Birmingham Legion conceding that goal may just put a little bit of negativity and doubt into the mindsets of the players. You can already see some mistakes happening that weren't happening prior, just the momentum changing by Monterey Bay getting themselves on the goal sheet. So in for an exciting ending 30 minutes to this game.
You know, we asked Jordan Stewart this weekend, who do you look at as some of the core members of your team going forward? And he said, well, you need a goal scorer, and we have one in Tristan Traeger.
Yeah, and I think if they can get somebody a little bit higher alongside Traeger, you can see he's doing a lot of pressing on his own and allowing the centre-backs to have the ball. I think they can be a little bit more aggressive in how they throw players forward. Maybe put a second striker up top, maybe attack with 3 and really put this back line under pressure and test them. When Birmingham Legion have the ball, as you can see now, they're allowed to be fairly comfortable and have time in possession to pick their passes. We've not seen the defenders have to play out from the back under pressure, and I think that poses a different problem that Monterey Bay could essentially benefit from.
Now, one thing to note as we get deeper into this match is something we told you earlier. Monterey Bay only has 4 players on the, or I should say Birmingham Legion only have 4 players on the bench tonight. One is a goalkeeper, and another in Finn Calloway has only appeared in 2 matches all year. So they really only have 2 players available off the bench that see any kind of regular time for them. Monterey Bay is making some subs here, as it will be Michael Gonzalez and Xavi Niolotti coming in. Obi Fair comes off, and Walmer Martinez does as well.
Exiting the match, number 11, Walmer Martinez. Also exiting the match, number 13, Moby Fair.
Today's subs brought to you by
Now
BBSI.
entering the match for Monterey Bay FC.
For
number
Xavi, this is
99,
his 9th appearance of the season. First season for him with Monterey Bay.
Also entering the match, number 18,
And
Michael
Gonzalez, who has a goal to his name this year, comes on for the 13th time.
2 offensive substitutions here from Jordan Stewart. They're going after that equalizing goal, which is what you'd expect, as we spoke about. The phase that they're in the season, they need to pick up 3 points. The objective is to make the playoffs.
Well, you said earlier there's no reason to lose 2-0. There's also no reason to lose 2-1.
They've got to go after it, and it's a great opportunity now with the momentum shift, the crowd getting behind the team to keep pushing for that equalizing goal.
They win the ball once again here. Possession has certainly been in their favor the last couple minutes. Again, a really good response after they conceded a goal. Here's Donor, had the assist on the goal a few minutes ago from Tristan Traeger.
This is where you want to rely on your players who are very good in 1v1 situations. You want to get your wingers on the ball and start to run at Birmingham Legion's defense. You need your players who have that ability and that creativity to create, make something out of nothing, or to take players on and attract the pressure and attention and find their teammates in space.
You know, another element to this Jordan Stewart taking over story is when you see coaching changes in the middle of a year, whether it's this sport or any other one, I would say 90% of the time, maybe more than that, it's an interim coach. and it's an assistant being promoted. This is a very different and quite unique circumstance where a full-time head coach is hired in the middle of a year, which can be challenging for the players for sure, because when an assistant becomes the head coach, sure, they change a couple things. Generally, it's the same tactics, and that is not the case here.
Yeah, and I think you could already tell there's a long-term purpose to the appointment. If they salvage something out the remainder of this season, great. If they don't, this is an opportunity to rebuild. So at the beginning of next season, they're ready to hit the ground running. Because if they don't do it now, then pre-season is new players. Like now, he has an opportunity for the remaining games to get the best out of this group, to evaluate players around the league, to evaluate this group, to see the standard of the league, and then next season to really hit the ground running. So he's not coming in fresh in the off-season.
And if you know the guy you want, why wait?
Exactly.
Sub here for Birmingham Legion. Miguel Perez in for Prosper Kasim. Perez makes his 21st appearance of the year. 19-year-old was acquired on loan from St. Louis City back in January. A homegrown contract that he signed with St. Louis back in February of 2023, and then played 15 games for the St. Louis City 2 side last year. Jerry Ione, pass did not get through. Renzo Martinez takes over.
Right there from Ione, just overhit the pass slightly, and Gonzalez has looked lively on this right-hand side since he's come on. Tidy on the ball, wants to get on it, wants to go forward, wants to take players on. I want to see a little bit more of him on the ball in these remaining 25 minutes and see if he has the potential to really unlock this Birmingham Legion defense.
Justin Galanti, Chris Nurse, our entire outstanding crew with you from Seaside, California, where Birmingham Legion lead Monterey Bay 2-1.
I now get a feeling from Monterey Bay that there's an urgency and a purpose in themselves to go forward and get themselves back into this game. They didn't need to go 2-0 down before they found that urgency.
Alex Dixon sends it to the middle, and well done there by Moses Mensah to just lay that down for his keeper, Van Okel.
The energy from Monterey Bay has definitely increased in the past 10 minutes. And if they have it now in minute 60, it could have been there a long time before, and maybe they don't find themselves two goals down first.
Gave up a second goal very quickly at a halftime, but since then, they have very clearly been the better side, which is not unusual for a team trying to make a comeback, but it is the case here. Hernandez Foster with a goal tonight. McCartney gives it back for Hernandez Foster, who missed wide. He's saying the shot was deflected and it should be a corner, but I don't believe Mohamed Hassan agrees.
Deflected or not deflected, you have to be very careful with Hernandez here. We saw this is where he got his goal earlier in the first half. If you give him time and space in and around the 18-yard box where he can get his shot off, he has the potential to punish you. So Monterey Bay have to do a better job in the center of the park of staying closer to players and closing him down and not allowing him that time and space.
Looked very close on that replay, but I think it was the right call.
Support Monterey Bay FC positively and with respect for the opposition and all participants in the game.
It's now 9 shots and 3 on goal for Monterey Bay tonight. 6 shots, 3 on goal on the other side for Birmingham Legion.
Speed of play is definitely improved for Monterey Bay past 10 minutes. Just moving the ball quicker with a purpose of switching it one side of the field to the other and then going forward to players in time and space. There's definitely a pep in their step, a little bit more upbeat in the past 10 minutes.
Last week against Hartford, Birmingham led 2-1 until the 87th minute. And they committed a fairly clumsy foul in the box.
Cheap foul there to give away from Gonzalez. They're doing good putting pressure on them. There's no need to give away a free kick. Just defend well in those moments.
Hartford were able to convert on a penalty kick and equalize. USL Summer of Soccer continues on CBS Sports Network Wednesday night when Sac Republic will take on El Paso Locomotive. You mentioned right now Sac Republic might be looked at as the favorite in the Western Conference. Here is Gonzalez, couldn't connect with Traeger.
Unlucky there, Gonzalez. Just trying to bring something different into the game, the ability to drive at players, tight ball control. Just the final pass was lacking a little bit. Good pressure there from Revelar.
And a good step forward here to take the ball by Kai Green. Tristan Traeger waiting for some support. Is able to find a man. We have a whistle here. A foul just outside the box as Alex Dixon was taken down. We'll see what color the card is. It is going to be a straight red. And Alex Croniale's night is over. And Monterey Bay will not only have this free kick, but be up a man.
I thought this was something that Monterey Bay should have done early in the game, was target Crognal. There was that chance earlier where he was up against Dixon, and we questioned whether it should have been a penalty, but you can see when Dixon gets at full speed, he's going past him. Crognal can't keep up. It's a very late tackle, and it's definitely a red card. If he doesn't hit him there, it's likely Dixon gets a shot from maybe gets the equalising goal. But Crognal has probably been the player that Dixon should have been matched up from the beginning of this game, and getting after him, taking him on, making things happen, and putting him under pressure.
Alex Croniale in his 7th USL Championship season, 5th with Birmingham Legion, and he is sent off. And now what an opportunity for Monterey Bay.
And the few times that Dixon's got up against Crognale in this game, Crognale hasn't been able to do with Dixon well. And they should have kept doing it, keep doing what's working for you. It would have happened earlier in the game, but great response from Birmingham Legion in these past 20 minutes. Brilliant response.
Crowd is into it.
There's just been a complete mind shift in how they're playing. Earlier, the passing, yes, they had possession, but it was very slow. It was very side to side with lacking purpose. Now there's a definite increase in the speed of play, the tempo, and the purpose in when they're playing. It's not just side to side. Now there's actually players making run forward.
Dixon right into the wall.
When Traeger picked up that ball in the middle and he's turning, he's facing forward, he needed players sprinting past him. And Dixon was probably the only player that was making the run past him. He got the ball, and look what happened off the back of it. He gets almost a great opportunity to get himself off, but he gets fouled, gets a red card. Now Monterey Bay are in a great position now to be able to throw an extra body forward. Now they have that numerical advantage and try to get as many shots off and goal and create opportunities in the remaining 25 minutes of this game.
It's amazing how the feelings about a match can change as quickly as they have in this one.
And they have that luxury now where they can get somebody a little bit higher alongside Traeger. So now they can occupy more players in that back line.
And just to add to the story, worth reminding you that Birmingham does not really have the ability to make many subs tonight. So the legs will be tired in the last stages of the match.
And Crognale is pivotal, so important in defending crosses for Birmingham Legion.
Tristan Traeger tried to turn and shoot. It was blocked and then cleared away by Derek Dodson.
Traeger in his signature area.
Sent back in, and Van Oekel has it.
Yeah, if you're going to deliver crosses, they have to be away from Van Oekel. Anything in and around his wingspan, and he's going to claim that fairly easily. They have to be in areas where he's not going to want to come out and deal with them.
Matt Van Oekel, 37 years of age.
And going strong.
Oh, yeah. 155th start in USL Championship tonight. Here's Gonzalez, taken away by Martinez. Pino has a goal right now that would stand up as the winner if Monterey Bay cannot find an equalizer. Donor. And this will be a throw.
Definitely starting to see a better performance now from Monterey Bay. Taking control of the game.
Jordan Stewart's head coaching debut. 75 minutes gone from it. His team up a man, but down a goal.
I think where we've seen a lot of the team struggle in this league so far this season is the ones who maybe lack depth. I think when you look at Louisville's roster and the players they're able to bring in off the bench, even if you look at Rhode Island's roster, now they're starting to get players healthy in the players they're bringing off the bench. Charleston has a huge impact of being able to keep the tempo, to strengthen as the game goes on rather than weaken, to keep the speed and the tempo of play high and continue to create goal scoring opportunities. I think that has been one of the Achilles heels of teams lacking depth, is that rely heavily on their starting 11, and just 1 or 2 injuries can completely be detrimental to the team.
You mentioned Rhode Island. Well, one of the reasons it can be harder to build depth is when there are more teams in the league.
Yeah.
Talent level gets thinned out a little bit. Pino helped back to his feet. If you're Birmingham Legion now, you are just trying to survive the next 14 minutes in stoppage time.
Yeah, we're in the business end of the season where it's all about picking up results. And it's important that the players on the field all buy into that, and they realize now, being down a man, that they have to put on a defensive clinic and really limit the amount of chances that Monterey Bay can create in the remaining 15 minutes of this game. And they're going to be under pressure. They're going to be tired, as you mentioned. They don't have a number of subs that they can really bring in. So there's going to be opportunities for Monterey Bay to get that equalizing goal.
Just joining us, just about 2 minutes after halftime, Birmingham Legion went ahead 2-0. Monterey Bay then got a goal from Tristan Traeger in the 60th minute. Alex Crognale was sent off with a red card in the 71st minute. And frankly, not much since then. Pino trying to run this down. Stefano Pino. Martinez sends it into the middle, flicked on, but easy for Siaha. First time we've said his name in seemingly an hour.
I think McCartney didn't know too much about this delivery coming in. Pino does well here. It's actually good defending from Lara, but Martinez, half a yard of space, delivers the cross. Lands perfectly on McCartney's head. Really should have done better with that header.
Very nervous moment for Monterey Bay, as Birmingham could have more or less put this away there. Instead, it remains 2-1.
Traeger does ever so well there to keep his team in possession. Difficult ball to deal with, but he handles it.
Revelar for Kai Green. They come again. Iolati.
Patient build up here from Monterey Bay. Having that numerical advantage, you think they'd be a little bit more zealous to get inside the 18-yard box, to get bodies in the box, but a lot of possession in wide areas.
Dixon does send it in, was trying to find Traeger, but it was poked away from him.
And this is what you got. You got Enzo Martinez defending on his goal line. He's not any goal threat when he's having to defend that deep. This is where you want to keep them pinned in. But you've got to get opportunities to shoot on goal. You've got to be a little bit more purpose. Now we see they've gone back to passing the ball without any purpose of moving the opponent or creating pockets in between them.
Donor wins a corner.
It's good defending there.
This will be another corner kick, a bagel corner kick.
But with Birmingham Legion now just dropping deeper. They've got to put crosses in the box. They've got to take shots from distance. They have to try to win second balls. There's not a ton of space for them to play penetrating passes, so they've just got to try and test the goalkeeper as frequent as possible. It may not be a golazo like what Pino scored, but you may get the one that deflects or drop down inside the box and somebody gets the second ball. That's That's what it's going to come down to.
Well, Xavi likely would have hoped to do better with that service than he did.
Similar to the go-ahead goal from Hernandez, you're looking for the player now who has the ability to get on the ball and have that moment of magic.
Here is Tristan Traeger. Revelar did well to retreat and keep the ball. Gets around Enzo Martinez, sends a cross in front. Cleared away though by McCartney.
Good defending from McCartney again. A couple of times he's been asked to defend very deep, and he's answered the question 2 or 3 occasions now, but still a long time left in this game, 10 or 12 minutes, and you feel like this pressure could build up.
Here's Donor.
Monterey Bay just have to keep asking questions of this Birmingham Legion defense. You can see players starting to get tired now.
No shots since the red card.
Great little ball there into Xavi, but just wondering if he could have took his first touch forward rather than backwards.
Traeger was trying to get it back to him, but well defended again by Birmingham Legion. Jerry Ione.
Birmingham Legion looks like they're running out of gas a little bit. Monterey Bay just need to be patient.
Sent into the area again. Xavi settles it. Cross comes, Van Oekel keeps it in play. And at least for a moment, a sigh of relief for Birmingham.
And with Matt Van Oekel's level of experience, he's going to be in no rush whatsoever to get himself up from the floor, but to get this ball back into play whatsoever. He's going to tick every second he can off the clock before the referee penalizes him. And then takes no risks. Hits it as far up the field as he can to Pino, understanding that his team's down a man and they don't essentially want to play pretty out from the back right now, given the pressure that they're facing.
Last week, down a goal. Monterey Bay equalized 2 minutes into stoppage time. It was Tristan Traeger who had the moment of brilliance. Do they have another moment like that in them in the debut match for Jordan Stewart, their new head coach?
I feel like Monterey Bay just need to get Donor high and wide, keep Guzman high and wide, pin them on the defensive line.
Both teams are getting set to make substitutions at the next opportunity.
This way, when they switch the point of attack, they're going to have players in 1v1 situations, or the holes are going to start to appear in the defense of Birmingham Legion. Then the opportunity is going to be there for those to play those penetrating passes in behind.
Van Oekel has this again. Looks like it'll be Miguel Guerrero coming on for Monterey Bay.
This is situations like this where you really wonder if the 6-second rule really exists for the goalkeepers. Van Oekel had that ball clean in his hands for almost 15 seconds, and the match officials don't question it.
Sometimes when you've been in the league as long as he has, it's worth a couple extra seconds.
I think that's where phases like this in the game is where referees really have to apply the law. If there's a 6-second rule, then it needs to be implemented for that exact purpose.
Revelar, good touch. Now Gonzalez. Now it's Lara. Traeger trying to find Xavi, and a foul. Jake Roof ended up down on the pitch as the subs will be waved on. Subs brought to you by BBSI. Let's look at that foul.
Definitely a free kick, but Birmingham Legion just doing a good job of getting bodies around the ball, very tight, making it difficult. There's no time and space inside the box right now for Monterey Bay.
It'll be Pino coming off in favor of
Preston Taboretaka. And it will be Ione coming off in favor of Guerrero. Pino, right now, this goal stands up as the winner.
Goal of the week. It'd definitely be a goal of the season contender also. Great creativity, brilliance, execution. Moment of magic from Pino. Both goals from Birmingham Legion, you could say, were moments of magic, both Hernandez and Pino's.
Birmingham substitution in the 85th minute.
His replacement, Taboretaka, 23rd game of the year for him. 6-year veteran of the USL Championship. Just the 4th appearance, or 5th actually, for Miguel Guerrero for Monterey Bay. First season with the club for him. 4 minutes and stoppage time remain. The chances you thought would most certainly come after the red card have really not come for Monterey Bay yet.
Mensa defending well there, just using his body to let the ball run out of play. And again, you can see that sportsmanship coming into play, game management, adjusting his socks when they're already pulled up. Letting every second they can tick off the clock.
Maybe they were wrinkled. Again, Birmingham Legion not out of subs that they're allowed to use, but the only 2 left are a goalkeeper and Finn Calloway, who's played in 2 games all season, just a 17-year-old, who's up on a USL Academy contract. Tristan Traeger trying to get it ahead to Dixon, but again, the play was broken up. Have to be impressed with the way Birmingham Legion have defended down to 10 men.
Yeah, they're getting bodies back behind the ball. They're staying very tight and compact. There's not much space in between for penetrating passes, so Monterey Bay have to switch the point of attack and trust their players in 1v1 situations in wide areas. And that's not been the case. They need to go from Dona across to Guzman quicker so that they can probably try to play penetrating passes in behind to the wide players. Or if Birmingham Legion don't shift quick enough, then you're going to be able to find Traeger, or you're going to be able to find Ione and Dixon in these higher positions.
This crowd is desperate to celebrate Jordan Stewart's first match with a result, but time is getting low.
Phenomenal leadership from Enzo Martinez here. This is Enzo making these runs, tracking runners into wide areas from central, almost as the deepest defender at times. He's taking the responsibility for his team to ensure that everybody's going to do their defensive responsibility. And if an attacking player with the attributes of Enzo Martinez is willing to put in that defensive work, I think the rest of the team will respond in line.
There's a reason you last in this league as long as Enzo has.
And it's part of winning. You're doing what's required to win, even though you're the man entrusted to create and score the goals. You're also taking the responsibility, having been a player who's been in this league so long, of understanding how to win in certain situations and understanding how to see a game out when you're down a man is pivotal to being successful long term. It's unfortunately one of the situations you find yourselves in games throughout your career a number of times, and knowing how to manage that is vitally important. But we've often seen games with some late heartbreak, and Birmingham Legion were the victim of that last week.
They were the victim of it, and Monterey Bay was on the other side of the story with the goal 2 minutes into stoppage time that equalized from Tristan Traeger. And a little more of what you were talking about from Van Oekel, you would think here.
It's a good look there from Kai and a good run in behind. Van Oekel was just equal to it and needs the magic sponge. Just taking the momentum. Whilst this will be added on in additional time, it just takes the momentum out of Monterey Bay and frustrates them a little bit. If you're the team attacking and you're down the goal, you want the ball in play, you want to try and keep being on the front foot. And what Matt Van Oekel is doing here is just taking all this sting, momentum and energy out of Monterey Bay. Tremendously experienced goalkeeper.
It's going to be 5 minutes of added time.
Minimum. I envision we'll see more than that. And I envision there's still another chance left in this game for sure.
The fourth official has indicated a minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time. Brought to you by Montage Health.
Throw here for Monterey Bay. Could it be Tristan Traeger again? Van Okel once again has it.
Poor pass there from Green.
Still want to make the right decisions. As low as time is, you don't want to rush it. Miguel Perez wisely runs this into the corner. And this should be a goal kick, and it is.
Monterey Bay have responded well the last 30 minutes, but they gave themselves a tough task by going 2 goals down.
They're going to bring this ball back.
Referee says rolling ball when the goalkeeper played it out.
Last couple sequences, that felt like we're seeing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, just hopefully hit passes forward that are just lacking quality. They're not hit with a purpose. They're not hit into quality areas. They're not into hit that gives Traeger an opportunity of keeping them in possession. They're almost just like turning the ball back over to the opponents. They have to be hit with a little better quality. There's nothing wrong with being direct, but there can still be quality on the ball rather than just kicking it forward.
Birmingham Legion hoping to seek a 3-point performance again tonight. That was the intention coming in. Can they hold on a little longer?
Great tackle there from Guzman.
Towards Itaka with it. Look at this from Tabor Itaka. Finally, the ball's taken from him.
Good defending there from Lara in the end. This is where Birmingham Legion need to get bodies back quickly. Vulnerable. This is where Monterey Bay can punish them.
Moses Mensah now. Trying to split a couple defenders. Poked away from him by Green.
I think the opportunity's been there for Monterey Bay to get themselves back into the game, but as we spoke about, the depth on the roster and the ability to bring players into the game who are going to add to the opportunities that you have has potentially been lacking. It's just been a lack of quality in some of those deliveries and those passes forward as the game's gone on in the latter stage of this second half when there was a real opportunity to get an equalising goal.
Still some time to work with. And this will be a goal kick.
Smart defending. Just gets his body in front. Allows the pace on the ball to run out of play, and less than 60 seconds remaining to go in this game.
Just feels a little bit like Monterey Bay, maybe since the red card, but at least since stoppage time started, have gotten a little sped up in their decisions.
Yeah, they've definitely improved, but there's definitely a significant lack of quality throughout the roster going forward. I think we've seen moments from Traeger, we've seen moments from Dixon, but there needs to be more collectively, and I think that's an area they'll definitely look to strengthen during the off-season, is to bring in players who have a higher execution rate, better care on the passes forward, and the ability to finish and create. And I think that's been the one area that's possibly lacking a little bit.
Birmingham Legion a man down for the last 25 minutes or so.
Now the strong tackle there from Lara. He's had a few big moments in the closing phases of this game.
Gonna have to bring the training staff on to check on Preston Tabortitaka. Looks like he's holding his stomach.
Lara taking no prisoners with this challenge. Of course, we're at the end of regulation and stoppage time now, so any stoppages now will be added on to the 5 minutes that was already given. Tactical substitution right now to take another couple of seconds off the clock.
Finn Calloway will get just his 3rd opportunity of the season.
I hope he has an appearance bonus in his contract. Put me on any minute you want if I have an appearance bonus.
Absolutely. Tabortitaka moving gingerly and will walk over to the sideline by himself. Took a high boot there, maybe knocked the wind out of him more than anything else.
Of course, until he comes back on now, Birmingham Legion will actually be down to 9 players until he gets back onto the field.
Question is, how long will it be until the night ends? This will be a throw for Birmingham Legion. Jordan Stewart in his debut as head coach. Trying to make sure this ball gets back in play quickly. Tabortitaka back out on the pitch. It will be Siaha here. Maybe one more chance forward for Monterey Bay. Played high into the middle of the pitch. Comes down, Martinez wins the ball. We continue to play on. Martinez sends it forward. Hernandez Foster had the first goal tonight. This will be a throw for Monterey Bay. And there is the final whistle. Birmingham Legion come on the road and spoil Jordan Stewart's head coaching debut. A 2-1 victory for Birmingham Legion.
It wasn't the best performance from either team, but it was definitely a much needed 3 points for Birmingham Legion. They managed to put a little bit of separation between themselves and the team below. For Monterey Bay, still 33 points to play for, 11 games to go. They need to keep hope alive, keep trugging forward, and see if they can turn this season around and find themselves in the playoffs.
Tonight's man of the match, presented by Golden Memorial, is that guy, Tristan Traeger. He had the goal tonight for Monterey Bay.
Yeah, he looked like the most lively player in the attacking third, the one who was going to score. When provided with good service, he did exactly that. Great ball from Donor. Traeger just uses the pace of the ball to guide it into the corner to get himself on the score sheet. Unfortunately, it was not going to be enough for Monterey Bay tonight.
8th of the season for Traeger, but as you said, not enough. 2-1 Birmingham Legion a winner. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a few minutes. So it's a 2-1 win tonight for Birmingham Legion over Monterey Bay in Jordan Stewart's debut as head coach for Monterey Bay. Let's take a look at the full-time highlights. And the first goal of the night was really a beauty from Kobe Hernandez-Foster.
Yeah, just a brilliant strike. Gets it out his feet, rolls out his feet, drills it into the bottom corner, gives Sioha no chance. And that was the go-ahead goal from Hernandez with that left foot one.
Then, just a couple minutes out of halftime, an absolutely spectacular finish from Stefano Pino. But we were so focused on the goal that maybe we should think about what happened here. Free kick, and it gets sort of interfered with.
Yeah, definitely an obstruction there. Monterey Bay free kick, but everybody stops playing. They stop reacting, and then Birmingham Legion are on their counter-attack, and unfortunately a number of players out of position, and you'll see what happens next right here.
Pino, a world-class strike. 2-0 for Birmingham Legion.
Punish, an absolutely beautiful goal here from Pino. Fantastic first touch, but the second is even better. A volley into the upper 90. Sioha can only watch it go into the back of the net. A goal that Pino want to see a number of times.
From then on, the energy certainly picked up. As you see, Monterey Bay was unhappy with that obstruction on the restart. But just past the 1 hour mark, Tristan Traeger got Monterey Bay on the scoreboard.
Yeah, if you give Traeger good service, he'll put it in the back of the net, and Dona does exactly that. All the work is done by the ball delivered into the box. Traeger's in the right place at the right time, uses the pace on the ball just to guide it into the corner, but unfortunately it was not enough for Monterey Bay tonight.
Final stats, 2-1, a win for Birmingham Legion. 3 points on the road for them tonight. Chris, your final thoughts?
Yeah, Monterey Bay came into the game in the last 30 minutes. They were dominant, but just not enough tonight. They need to do a little bit more in the attacking third to really pick themselves up and give them a chance of making the playoffs. For Birmingham Legion, a great 3 points on the road. They give themselves a little bit of distance between themselves and the team below, solidifying their place in the playoffs.
Well, I think we'd both agree that only positive things are ahead for Jordan Stewart as he takes over as the head coach for Monterey Bay. But tonight, not quite as positive as he would have hoped. Birmingham Legion a 2-1 winner on the road. Thanks so much for being with us. For our entire outstanding crew and my partner Chris Nurse, I'm Justin Galanti saying goodnight one more time. Birmingham Legion a 2-1 winner over Monterey Bay.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.